Whoops. Okay, there we go, everybody. So we did have some sells today, but first let's go over the market. Fortunately, though, I raised a ton of stops, and I gotta admit, I thought I was going to see a lot more trigger than what triggered. So today is kind of good on that end. But first, let's look at the overall market. The Nasdaq sold off intraday for a little bit, but then rallied for a bit, actually closing higher than where it opened. Volume was above average again, so it's always possible. Remember, got to buy every fucking dip. It's possible that we're at another buy the dip time. December, January, another January test. This could be a good successful test here. MACD and TSV says don't hold your breath, but it is just something to consider that we are testing these lows. New York Stock Exchange, quite a big intraday reversal off the lows on well above average volume. So it is possible that we have seen the lows for this pullback for this time around. Nobody's going to know for a fact, and however, and I wouldn't even get confident until we break above that downtrend line. Yeah, there we go. That's more like it. So until we break above that downtrend line, I wouldn't go thinking that for sure we bottomed here. But we do have some good indications. But like I said, MACD, TSV, not confirming there on the S&P 500 either. Dow Jones Industrial Average, same story. Russell 2000 only down 0.30% today. Will also close higher than where it opened, and it's got higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. MACD TSV also saying once again, don't hold your breath. Stochastics getting around to the mid-range. Nothing I can say that, oh yeah, we're oversold and we're turning and we got to bounce higher. So overall, basically, everything still looks the same. I'm still under a neutral condition across the board. If the NYSE and Dow Jones Industrial Average would have finished, near the end, like near their lows, I would have switched probably all of these models, including the S&P 500, to a sell signal. But as it is with intraday reversal, it stays neutral. The Nasdaq and Russell 2000, it's not going to be under a sell signal unless we take out these January lows, which would also put it below the 200-day moving average. So right now, everything's neutral. My full sell signals, the only one that didn't completely sell intraday by the end of the day was LinkedIn. But LinkedIn's a full sell with it fully failing the low a day of the add signal date of our previous full sell signal. So LinkedIn, that thing likes to throw me around. But even worse is Rent. I didn't post it, everybody, but I'm fully out of Rent as intraday. I had my final cut loss level here below these lows, 66.50. It eclipsed that yesterday. Was going to see if it was bullish today to add it back, and obviously it is pocket pivot point signal, so I got to add back my 10 shares of Rent that are out there. Yeah, that isn't a lot. I know, I understand, but a rule is a rule. I would hate to not add in Rent and then see Rent to go to $100, missing out on $30 per 10 shares, $300. It's a nice chunk of change. It buys about a week of food out here on Maui, so hell, let's go for it. So Rent's the only full sell that I had to add back. Some speculative stocks failed. SKYS, nasty. Thank God my fill's around 940, but ugly. These speculative longs still aren't working for shit. Mara is another one that failed miserably. One of my most nicest setups during this most recent uptrend. I tell you what, by this day right here, I thought we had the potential for something big. But the biggest red flag here, see how strong BOP looks on the bottom of the screen? Sorry guys, I'm using all my indicators with this, which I look at, but it's irrelevant to everybody else. Ignore those when it comes to stocks. I know what I'm looking for in the stocks, positive divergences, but it makes the chart all messy. But right here, TWOU, wow. Bouncing right at the 50-day moving average, above average volume. But what happened to BOP? It fell compared to the previous day before. That maybe was our red flag that this thing wasn't going to work. But I tell you what, let's say that BOP would have exploded higher and volume would have been bigger here. Probably got another kite setting up. As it is, 2 was looking good for a minute, but then nope. And today, even though volume's below average, and it cutting and closing at 1750, which is basically above 1730, which is the low day of the first signal date, I don't care. The open was 1765. It's closing below the open. I'm out of TWOU. Also, I'm going to fully get rid of, I put on that short yesterday, 80XS. First cut loss was above 12 and then 1209. So obviously I'm out of half already. But I'm not waiting for it to fail 1288 and 1317. BOP has gone back to green, and it actually had a really solid intraday session. At one point, it was trading so tight that I had a feeling it was going to break out before the end of the day, and that is what happened. So ADXS is a full cover. Not going to worry about that one anymore. The one that I did play intraday was SMSI. However, late in the day, it missed my limit of 150. I believe it got down to 152, maybe 153. I think it just touched 152 a couple times, but I had my limit at 151. Got down to 153 as far as I'm concerned on the actual tradable price range, and I missed it running into the end of the day. But we followed this one, alerted out the chat room, and this one was the best working one. A lot of partial sells. INT basically be a full sell for me because I'm out of all of it, but it's a 50% sell. And Geo's a 25% sell, closed below the 20-day moving average on heavy volume. AHC, it's a 50% sell, heavy volume sell off below a couple of key support levels. Even though it didn't close down there, I don't care. RDI is a 25% sell, speculative position, and HTCH is not working. Thank God I didn't chase the market open and try to get my limit at 374. It has now filled the gap. If you did get filled in the morning and didn't take any profits, this is a 100% sell signal. If you did take profits along the way up, this is a 50% sell signal, and you can wait to see if it wants to get trade below 380 again before you got all out. Oil stocks, they look like they're bottoming. Oil, XLE, VDE, DIG. Look at all of these reversals on all these that I bring up. BNO, USO, DBO, and then look at the stocks. SN, SM, AX, AS. The one I was thinking about going long, OAS, just because of the huge volume surge, but I don't like the rollover Hilltop from December to January that led to the price action. But the bottom line is we got a lot of positives in the oil space looking like it wants to potentially bottom for real. Been a lot of insider buying lately in oil stocks also too from late December to now. So even it looks like executives of these companies think that this is ridiculous. And then another potential positive today, KBE. Reversing before it can even make new low October lows, so that's pretty bullish. And you look at JP Morgan, big reversal off the intraday lows. Citigroup, same thing. Bank of America, same thing. Goldman Sachs, same thing. Big volume. Morgan Stanley, same thing. Wells Fargo, same thing. So it's possible that we've seen the lows in bank stocks. But then that leads us to our only two new long positions. One's an add back ZLTQ. This damn thing's already taken me out of half of it. It was a 5% position signal right here. This big move down intraday got me out of half of it whenever it closed right below, I believe it was these lows. I'm not quite sure. It might have been 27.94. I think it was 27.94 because my first cut loss level under this condition is the low a day, and then it's the emergency most low base. But with the open today, the big intraday reversal higher on heavier volume and a pocket pivot point signal green BOP, I want to not only add back what I sold, but then add another half of that. So 2.5% long signal in ZLTQ. It was a 5%. It's down to 2.5%. We got another 2.5% signal, getting us back up to right around a little bit over 5% of our first initial position. I got to check that out. Something doesn't sound right about all that. I might have been taking out a more ZLTQ. I might have had two stops, and the first one was here, second one was there, third one was here. I really need to look at. I'm holding too many longs, guys. This is ridiculous. I think this is ridiculous. I can't stand this. And then AGTC is giving me a long signal, very nice long signal, pocket pivot point back-to-back signals after a flurry of pocket pivot point signals. And if we look at the function one, you can see the relative strength line has been inching up and really took off today, showing strength compared to the overall market. This is a very nice stock. Got some growing. It's growing in its sales. It's got some mutual fund ownership growth, but there's no earnings. It's speculative overall, as it's not really a very heavily traded stock. So it's only going to be a 2% long signal. First cut loss is 21.63. Next one is 21.07. Next one is 20.75. And if you want to have emergency sell stop, I would have it below 19.89. But AGTC, that is a 2%er. ZLTQ add is 2.5%.